To you. This is Esther Davis. We are hosting a very special show this evening because we're in the middle of a great political season. So tonight we're going to talk about some of the important things that we have encountered over the last couple of weeks that has to do with what people are asking and what they're wondering. It's an outstanding panel that I have here tonight because I've worked with all of these ladies at one time or the other over the last 20 years that I've been on television. But this is so important to us that on last Friday when we had the Honorable John Lewis in town, Eddie Bernice Johnson did some things that we're going to talk about. But one of the things she said when it was about over, she says, do something. Just do something. You have the audience to do that. And you're the audience that we're talking about. So I am going to introduce my distinguished panel here tonight. And these are all fabulous women in their own right. And I say that, I don't say that loosely, I say that because I know what their character is and what they have done. Chef Cassandra is going to let us eat and feed us really, really soon. So please we'll give her, great to have you here, Chef Cassandra.
Always awesome.
Yeah, always awesome. Yes, thank you so much. Sure. And I remember Yolanda's sitting here closest to me at another event. You had on this big thing on your foot, and you were getting around like you were on skates. Welcome to the Esther Davis Show. We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Good. And Sabrina Brenham is going to really open us up in a little while. She's a precinct chair. We have never had two precinct chairs on the show at the same time. These ladies are so full of information that I could never put into any view, so the easiest thing to do is just to invite them to come. But hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Thank you for having me.
Oh, well, thank you for being
here.
here. Are you? Yeah, well, you're going to help us out tonight a whole lot. And, of course, Claudia Fowler is a masterpiece at what she does. She has a large audience, a large following. She had a TV show, an internet show. Internet show at one time.
The queen of community conversation.
That's what it was, the queen of community conversation. And she's back to give us insight on this important election. Let's open with your dad. What happened at the John Lewis Colin Allred thing? Was your dad looking for that to happen?
No, he wasn't looking for that to happen. That just happened at the spur of a moment.
Right.
Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson saw him, and she remembered all of the things that he had done for her from 70 all the way up till, now. Yeah. And so she honored him.
Yes, she did. She kept calling his name. He was just standing there listening to his name being called and didn't move.
No, he didn't move, and I had to, she's calling you, Dad.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah.
But anyway, my father went against the union to help Eddie Bernice Johnson, the Congress lady, get elected.
And that was, what, 35 years ago?
35 years ago.
Wow. That was a really great moment. Claudia called all of us and said, come down here. You have been invited. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was pretty exciting. Did you know it was going to be that huge and that powerful?
I did not. I was invited to the Colin Allred African American Roundtable last Tuesday night. Okay. And it was at the great Sharon Patterson's church, Hampton Park United Methodist Church. Okay. So a very small but intimate group, but very powerful group of ministers, community leaders, parents, school educators, and they mentioned that, of course, Honorable Eddie Bernice Johnson was there, and they mentioned that John Lewis may be coming in town. So they got next to me, close to me, and said, well, can you help us? I'm like, well, okay, sure, I can help out. So when they sent it to me, I directly sent it out to you all because I know that you are very connected to the community. I said Yolanda, Pleasant Grove, Sabrina and her community of Highland Hill, and of course me and Joplin. And of course it could not be an event without Queen Dr. Ester Davis in the house.
Well, I know John Lewis. He and I are about the same age. He might be a couple of years older than I am, but I couldn't believe he was going to come to town for the to really lobby and to really get on people. And he told his entire story. John Lewis is the honorable U.S. Congressman that we've all heard about, was part of the civil rights movement, and they refer to him as Dr. King's little brother. Okay, so he was here in Dallas, Texas, and it was one powerful event. What are we going to do here, ladies? What is going on with this race? Why are we getting so much attention? Why is the early voting so magnificent? Let's start with Claudia.
Well, early voting it's a magnificent moment, I think, for the Democratic Party, for America. Right now, we're trying to galvanize, mobilize, and, get Democrats to the polls to vote. The millennials are really coming out to vote. Right now, here in the city of Dallas, the column I read, Beto O'Rourke is one of the closest races I think that we're going to see. And we're just, we've just witnessed numbers that we've never witnessed them before. I think as of last night, 1,122,000.
122,000?
1,122,000.
Wow.
And Dallas County has voted. So that is why, you see the urgency. Dallas
County alone?
That's Dallas County alone. So you can see the urgency of people getting to the polls. If you've been out there volunteering, or even working the polls, I mean, they're coming in droves, 300 and 400 and 500 a night, at the end of the day. So there is, we have been working on this, I think, all year since the primary in March. And now here we are.
And here it is.
And here it is.
Yeah.
This is right here at us.
Now, you told us earlier, before we went live, that in Pleasant Grove alone, people are lining up every night.
Yeah, I went to vote early the first night. I got there at 6, and I actually left at 7:05, and it was a long line. And I always check on the ladies because they've been in the community. So I get the numbers just about every night. So the first night it was over 740. The next night it was close to 800.
Wait. You mean these are people that are coming at night? Because the polls closed early voting at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock, and there was a long line. So that was the 6:30 count. Mind you, I just had the 6:30. I didn't have the final count. And the day when it rained, they had over 500 people. So she said they are really coming out. And in Pleasant Grove, we have an older community. We always have voted. And so what I would like to see happen with the Democrat Party, because I'm excited all the time. It just can't be when it's a presidential election or
you vote all the time.
Someone in here. We have to keep this because people don't understand what kills us and drives us is local election. So you can't be on fire for something that you really can't control and not be on fire for something that affects us directly. And I want to say that somebody mentioned and said it's a sugar rush. Right now, I'm a diehard Democrat, and really this is a sugar rush. Everybody is on fire, everyone passionate, but at the end of the day, we're going to go back. Are we going to go back to the same routine? Are we going to keep this going? Are we going to educate the people what they're really? I was standing in line next to a young Hispanic guy. He was so excited. He was 18. And I asked him, you know what you're voting for? He really didn't know. He said they told me to just vote straight Democrat, which is good. But I didn't want to kill his, time. But what I did notice when I was talking to one of the other voters, we have to educate people. Because if we don't educate them on what they're voting for, we're going to go back, we're going to get excited, and then the next 2 years, the next 4 years, we're going to be right back where we started.
Right. We don't want to go backwards at all.
And that's what I do in my community, the community of Highland Hills in southern Dallas. I educate my my neighbors and my people that I see every day, because I service my people every day at my place of business. And
that's right. You're a businesswoman in addition to being that precinct chair.
And I help people get registered to vote, and I get a feedback every day now saying that Miss Sabrina, I voted. Miss Sabrina, I voted. So as they come into my place of business, I educate my customers and all of the people that I see on a daily basis. I do educate the people that come before me on a daily basis, not just during elections. And I've always preached that the midterm is just as important as the presidential election.
Well, I thank you for educating me, because we ran this commercial, Michael ran this commercial last week, and I didn't know the magnitude of what it was I used my number versus next time I'm going to use your number. I'm not using my number anymore, because the calls start coming. Now, give me a sense of what we talked about earlier. This ad that's running on people that have a felony against them, because this man, Sabrina, did not want to vote, told me that he was not going to vote.
Okay, people they're not educated, and they don't understand that after you have served your time on probation or parole, you've paid all your fees, and you've been released from parole or probation, you are eligible to vote again.
Okay.
And I get that a lot in my community. I can't vote, Sabrina, because I'm a felon. I said, I have to ask the question, why do you say you're a felon? And it's because I've been to prison. I said, are you finished? Are you reporting to your probation officer or your parole officer? No, I've done all that. I said, well, you can register to vote here.
Okay. Well, now we go to the things that are on the table.
To register to vote today.
Okay.
I think that all this goes back on the party, and I'm sorry. You can say what you want to say about other people, but the Democrat Party does not do enough to educate and promote. It's a pick and choose, and I think what hurt us.
Now, explain. Now, I'm a little green at this. What is a pick and choose?
Okay, when I say pick and choose, you can never kill someone and say that they can't run in the Democrat Party, but when it's crucial times like this, you have to put your best candidate forward.
Okay.
And we have to be honest. It can't be on race. It can't be who you like. If we're really serious about turning Dallas is blue, but I'm talking about helping the other areas, it has to be the best candidate. And sometimes some of the people that's in the race right now, they're not the best candidate. So that's why we didn't win with Hillary. She's likable, but she wasn't the best candidate at the time. And I think that's what the Democratic Party have to do, have some serious talks. If I ran against Claudia, and Claudia was ready right there, I can step down because I'm a true Democrat, and I realize that if it means me stepping back, so Claudia or Sabrina, but we don't do that. You have judges, you had sitting judges that was good, they're gone. It's like a fight within the Democrat Party, and that has to stop.
That did come up after this other administration came into view, and I'm going to tell my audiences right now, we're going to have some breaks here, and that's deliberate. That's to make you watch every segment that I put on the screen. So what we're doing is doing a series, and the series is going to be in about 3 different parts. So if there's a cut, that means I'll go to a commercial, and I want you to watch the second segment. We'll do the very, very same thing for the 3rd segment. But we will run it, Michael, all month. And I got 1 more minute, and I'm going to end this segment. So don't call me about this, because it will be airing again. But I did want you to finish what you were telling us about the Democratic Party basically not having their act together.
Just like, for instance, the former Craig Watkins. There's no way he should have lost. But there was so much fighting going on. He had a group of judges that he had running against the incumbent, and then you reap what you sow. And we really look like we're together, but we're not.
Okay.
And so until we really, really decide, are we serious about helping one another? I sit back, I see, and I'll just use the flyer. I got a flyer in the mail, and it was this one group walking. And I noticed I can't vote for Victoria. She's not my state rep. It's Tony Rose. But I didn't see Retta on there.
Retta?
Yeah, Retta is running in another district, Retta Brown.
Oh, okay.
She's African American. So I asked the guy, I said, well, why is she not on here? Then I hear people say, Beto, African American for Beto, but I don't see African Americans for Brown, Marion Brown. So you can't get excited about one person and not be excited for all. And so I fought the leaders. Because it starts with the Democratic head, it starts with the other elected official when you pick and choose. I never seen, and I'm just being honest, I never seen a Caucasian run for office and say, vote for me because I'm Caucasian and I can represent you. We play the race card.
Right.
We tell the Hispanic they got to have someone that look like them. Then we tell the black. So now you know what's going to happen, and it's coming soon in the southern sector. The Hispanics, because this new group got the Hispanic thinking that they this and that. We fought with them all these years. So all of a sudden now, they feel like it's the majority of them, they should have this. So now we're fighting, and it's up to the part
that we have. We are taking that break I told you about. For my audiences on Facebook Live, don't go away. We're going to be right back for BPEN. Hello, Terry. Hello. I'll say hello to you. We'll be right back. It's Esther Davis with a hot show.
You do have a hot show.
This is good stuff.
Yeah.
We're still on Facebook Live.
We're still on Facebook Live. So
if
Chef, what do you have for us today? See, this is the part where I get confused.
This is the Facebook Live stuff.
Yeah, so this is the Facebook Live part.
Well, I think this
Tell us about how famous and wonderful you are.
Oh my God! You know, I only know that by what you tell me and what you say, and you know, it's always one of my instructors, my nutrition instructor, told me, you know, Cassandra, it's always good for someone else to say how good you are versus you saying how
that's
good
right.
you are.
That's right.
So I thank you, and I don't take it lightly to have a reputation, a rich reputation, I may say, if I can, in the community, and it has afforded me the opportunity to do wonderful things, and people trusting me and being able to feed them. So this is a great opportunity to kind of get, you know, I won't say it. My mind says in the kitchen, but you know, when you have to make it do what it do when it does. So we're gonna do it here in this conference room.
Wow!
I'm gonna cook some little things on the spot, and I'm gonna give you a variety of taste using these wonderful spices. And we're gonna go to different regions, as you said earlier. We're gonna go to Africa and have some jollof rice, although we're gonna use a little pasta with that. But we're going to check that flavor out. Yeah, it's going to be really great. Then we could even go to Jamaica with a little curry background. That's going to make it good. I cannot wait to try this all-in-one spice.
That is wonderful. We tried that one night in the studio upstairs because there's another office upstairs. Okay. And I put it on fruit. Big, and it was just awesome. So are we going to see OB tonight?
Yeah, he should be here.
Okay.
He said he should arrive about 8 o'clock.
All right, perfect.
It should be riding.
Chef, how long have you been in business?
Oh my goodness! You know, I just did the calculation the other day. This is my 27th year.
Wow!
I started when I was 8.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You want to come back in on her finishing?
Yeah, I can come back in on her finishing. Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Keep going.
Okay, so I've been cooking since I was 12.
What's your name?
The story is I grew up working in a Jewish synagogue alongside my mom and my grandmother. So it afforded me the opportunity to learn how on different levels and so forth. So this is just a part of the run, and I enjoy being able to create. And so today I'll be able to create some wonderful cuisine for you guys to try, and you tell me what you think.
I have to feed them, I guess. You know, you have to feed them when they come, so they'll come back.
Oh, yes.
That's Chef Cassandra, who is a staple here in our region, actually, not just in Dallas, but she has been all over the place. I can especially remember the Heart Association.
Yes.
When you were the spokesman of the chef.
National Ambassador for
National Heart Association.
So that is something as people of color and African Americans that we really need to concern ourselves with. So as equally important as voting, we need to take care of our health so that we can exercise the right to be able to have our voices heard.
We're going back to Yolanda now, and welcome back to BPEN. And the television audiences, you were talking to us about Pleasant Grove and some of the inside workings of the Democratic Party. Going forward with how do you get the word out to the people? What was the rollout like?
Far as the Democratic Party, we have had canvassers knocking on doors for several months now. Of course, the Battle campaign, they have had, all the campaigns have had canvassers, and it's usually where it all starts with your canvassing, with your phone banks, with your meetups, with your rallies, and whatever else. It's so interesting she would say that about the Hillary and with the Hillary campaign. When Obama, when he first ran, I was, of course, co-founder of Obama Dallas, and when we started meeting up, our first meetup, the discussion actually came up was, just like it did with Hillary, is he winnable? Because we're looking at
is he winnable?
Is he winnable? An African American man in 2008, is he winnable? Well, we said, well, yes, he is winnable. And after I heard him, and one night when he was at the convention, and I was frying pork chops or something in my kitchen, I heard this guy on TV, and he's carrying out. What in the world? I ran through my little house, and I stood and almost burned my pork chops up. I know it's not healthy eating, but I was eating some pork chops that night.
It's all right. Every now and then.
Every now and then, it's all right. And after our first meet up, we decided he's worth the chance. And I don't think that conversation was ever given on Hillary, like you said. Was it the right time? Was it the right atmosphere? Was it the right climate for her to be running? Well, after she did win the Democratic, Party nominee, okay, we had no other option but to push our candidate. And like you said, now there have been some things that the Democratic Party has presented on if you want to run for a campaign, if you want to run for office. And that's mostly geared to our people that are 25, 30, 35 years of age who have never ran for anything. Mm-hmm. I mean, running for something in high school, running for something on your college campus, especially on the HBCU, sometimes it's just a given if you're popular enough, or, if people know who you are, you're in a sorority, right, or you're in a fraternity or whatever, you're a dancer, a band member or something, or an athlete. So we've had some classes and some presentation on how to run, the proper thing to do to run, how to raise the money, how to do campaign financing. And like she said, wow, like Yolanda just said, there is sometimes these things are not given enough because, to pick the right candidate. Because if you get into that type of class and then you get to thinking, after you look at all the things of how to run, how to file, some people even have to file, for office. Is this really the office I want to run for? My background has been accounting. Do I really want to run for a school board? So like you said, like Yolanda just said, it's about picking the right candidate, mm-hmm, for the right job. And then sometimes everybody that signs up, like right now, District 4, for example, has 13 candidates in a race. And that is going to be,
what is going to happen with
the votes?
What is going to happen with that? And we're talking about District 4. Let's go back. So we went from the state race to District 4. District 4 is Dwayne Caraway.
Correct.
That's city council.
Correct.
And he, of course, stepped down. Correct. There are 13 people in that race.
Say it.
So what's going to happen? What, in your opinion, is going to happen?
Of course, with attrition now, it's going to end up into a runoff. That's going to be a given. Mm-hmm. And if someone does not get, I think, 51.9% of the vote that night, then the top two will end up into a runoff.
That's another show. That's another whole show because we get so confused with city, mm-hmm, county. So what do your precinct chairs do about that? Because you have people that call. I'm going to send all my calls to you. But, people call on a state race. Well, Eddie Bernice did not do this. I'm talking about Congress now. But Congress and City, mm-hmm, Hall are how far apart?
Ways.
Yeah,
ways. I think that,
City Hall is local.
Yes.
Right, okay.
And Congress is federal.
And that's the part people have to be educated because, I watch social media and I see people talk about, millennium. When I was young, my mother told me get out there and work. It wasn't no such thing growing up in my era where, you disrespect the old. Right. And I tell people, know your district. District 4 is an older district. My dad and my stepmom, my family leader, they're old school. You're not going to knock on their door and talk and, try to say that you young, you this, you that. They want to see what have you done in the community. Right. And people should run because they have a desire to run, not because I asked Sabrina to run.
Okay. Exactly.
And
that's
so
true. That is true.
Yes.
And a lot of that is going on in Dallas. People are running because somebody asked them. They don't have the desire at all. They're just running because somebody said, oh, will you run? And when they're asking all these different people to run, it is designed for someone to end up in a runoff to, mm-hmm, split the votes. Mm-hmm. When
wait, now you lost me again. Sorry about this. It's designed.
By purpose. That's what they literally have people that gets in. They're not working. You can see the people who don't want to win. You never see them at anything. They're not walking. They put them in there to design, and they're so busy trying to, it's a good thing to be the front runner. Like, mm-hmm, if Sabrina got in the race, it's good that it take 11 people to try to knock off Miss Arnold. Mm-hmm. But one thing they have to understand, that is an older district. You don't have a lot of millennium. Mm-hmm. You can't go in there talking fast, and so.
No, you can't.
Yes.
We had a young man come to the round table. Mm-hmm. Everybody, we have a famous round table here with pastors, And I didn't know him. He was just sitting there at the round table. So he comes up with this thing in my district. I don't know what his district is, Colin somebody, but he says that I have a lot of seniors, and seniors are sick, and seniors are. So I listened to this. I said, "Who are you again?" Because you can't say that we're sick if you got 3,000 people. You got the active seniors. You have the seniors that are still working. You have people that don't consider themselves seniors. So. You just messed up with me. I said, if you're voting today, I would not vote for you.
And they're absolutely right. And as we talk about, as Yolanda just said, and Sabrina as well, that in districts like such as District 5, District 7, District 8, older communities. These are your retirement communities. These are people that have worked 30, 40, 50 years, got the kids grown and gone, grandkids come, they get ready for grandkids to go, okay, bye-bye, call your mama, let's go. So these are the older districts here in the city of Dallas. But I guess when we talk about millenniums, and I do love the millenniums, I'm glad to see that they're getting involved at a younger age. They didn't have to drag. When our moms and dad went to the poll to vote, we went with them. And we were quiet, don't go ahead and do no bunch of talking and whatever else. So, but we would watch what they did. I even found my great aunt and great uncle's poll tax book the other day.
Poll tax.
Yes. And I forgot to bring it, but.
I gotta see that.
I have I will bring mine. I have my great grandmother, and I posted one time why you don't want to go to the poll and vote. She literally had to pay 50 cents to go vote.
Yep, and it was $1,
yes, because she's from Idabel, Oklahoma.
It went up to $2 because by the time my parents were, it was $2 because I remember my mother talking, and they would go to the polls dressed up.
Oh yes,
they go
an event.
Yes, and that's the big difference.
Men would put on suits, and the ladies would have on their hats, and it was like a Sunday go to meeting type of deal. But I guess when we talk about the millennials and young people being involved in the community, I met one that is running, and I made mention of the late Judge L.A. Bedford. He said, "Who is that?"
Exactly.
He asked me who that was. I said, "Let me get this straight. You are actually running for a seat in this city, and you
didn't know.
You are a part of the J.L. Turner Legal Association. I'm sure, like most of our most prestigious lawyers are here in town. All of our judges, and all them." He says, "Well, I don't know who that is." I'm like, "Okay, seriously?" And that was almost a hurtful, heartbreaking moment for me because everybody knows Judge L.A. Bedford was one of the main men that was on the front line of the civil rights movement right here in Dallas, Texas.
And he was the first African-American judge. Exactly. How important is history in this equation we're talking about?
History is so important.
Oh, Yolanda says, ooh.
Listen.
How important is history?
That's the history.
We got 3 minutes before we go to a break.
Before you even run for office, you need to know the history.
And my grandmother, I'm so thankful to be born when I was born. When my grandmother died, I moved in her house. I have all the books. We have the Ebony. You remember the Ebony book?
Oh, I remember the brown Ebony books.
The brown ones. So, yes. And so.
The brown was holding. I don't remember
the brown encyclopedia, Ebony. I have the big book. That's how we learned Black history. Yeah, they ate through the alphabet.
Michael, you know anything about that?
I would have to bring it because my cousins was in college. And so, I like to try to be the mother of the family. I took that book and I opened it up where the slave got hung. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Granny and our mother taught us history. They're not going to teach you this." I said, "I want you to look at this so when you start voting, you understand exactly." And he said that stood in his mind to see that Black man lynched. History is so important, and I'm going to bring you that book so you can see it.
I want to see it too.
Okay.
We're going to have another show on the history of voting. Why is it so important, especially for African Americans?
Well, now history. Now Sabrina has a story about her grandmother who went to Prairie View.
Yes.
Let's do 2 more minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
About my grandmother attended Prairie View A&M. She was born in.
Is this the grandmother I know, the one used to do all the cooking for the whole neighborhood? Okay, yeah, but I remember her. Okay.
She was born in 1914, and she attended Prairie View during the Great Depression. During that time, Prairie View did not have a president; they had a principal. And so that's where she attended, and she's the one that taught me the importance of voting. And one day I asked her, I called her Big Mama. Big Mama, where are you going? I'm going to vote. She had on her heels, a dress, and pearls, going to vote.
Yeah, I have pictures of some of my ancestors, and I thought they were going to church or to a convention or something, because voting has always been in the middle of the week. And the story was no, she was going to vote. And the funniest thing, she put her teeth in.
And if you look at those photos, I mean, if you look at them, the ladies was ladies. They was always dressed nice. The men, and we have to get back to that point because somehow this generation don't understand. Like I told Sabrina and I told Claudia, when the primary's over, when everything died down, we're gonna hit every low income apartment in our district, and we're gonna have some real talks. I don't get food stamps. I don't get entitlement. I said we have to be real with these people. While they sitting up enjoying the fruit of the land, the taxpayer, this is real. Because entitlements is not, people really think they're entitled to food stamp. Yeah. So we all agreed that we're going to walk and knock on those doors and have real conversations with people to tell them, if you don't take advantage of what they're offering you, because we go to the school and fight. We don't have kids in school.
So you can go to the school and fight?
No, I'm saying we fight on their behalf and advocate for them, but they don't come out. They don't have a reason to. So, you know, sometimes you have to shake them up. And so we agreed we're going to take a couple of weeks off. And we're going to walk Sabrina neighborhood, Claudia neighborhood, and we have to be honest because I think, you know, being African American, we can really sit there and tell them, this is real.
They listen to you.
They can take this Section 8 from you.
Will listen to you.
And I didn't have it easy. So Sabrina could tell her story, Clark could tell her story. Nobody does that. You know what? They don't go to those apartments to talk to them about voting. That's a whole pool.
Oh, you're watching the Ester Davis Show. And for my Facebook friends, we're going to stay with you. For television, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and finish the history of voting for African Americans. And I want Yolanda to tell us about this new venture she's going to take on because I agree, we don't have to depend on food stamps. We can go and do it in the garden. Give me a minute. Let me take a break. I'll be back. Don't go away. You're watching Ester Davis. We're still live on Facebook. Okay, you got to repeat this again.
Okay. Could you lean
yes, sir.
I'm
always.
You right behind her.
Okay,
so
right here.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm always getting myself into something, but it's a good cause. And so, you know.
And then we follow.
The state, we was at the prayer breakfast, so the state representative Tony Rose said Queen Joppa, Queen Highland Hill, Queen Pleasant Grove. When you have them together,
that's dynamite right there. I can attest to that.
So I decided, and I said, you know, when this election over, we're going to give them a week to die down. I said, we all are deputy registered. I said, we're going to go to every low-income apartment in our district, and we're going to have some real talks with them. Because I think we all grew up in the hood, so we're not afraid because no one is talking to them or teaching them. See, we understand the poor you keep a community, the more they get the state money, but it don't come to us. They rob Peter to pay Paul. So we have to have real talks with them about what can happen with Section 8. What can happen if the state of Texas decide to give a drug test? Because I don't smoke weed. I can go to work tomorrow. They say take a drug test. We have to be honest and let them know these are entitlements. And at any time, it could be cut off.
Wow. And if they don't go and vote straight Democratic,
it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. All of that is going to be cut out or cut in half.
Wow. And it's already happening.
Yes, because they cut, I remember, we're on Facebook now?
You're on Facebook Live.
Okay. I remember on Facebook, right after the administration changed, there were cuts 20 days after the change. And so ever since then, this administration has been downgrading everything that was put in by President number 44. That's Barack Obama. But we do need to understand that they need to go to work. Period.
You know, when I was when President Bush was in office, they could say a lot of things about him, but I really liked him. He had the welfare to work. I was working at the VA at that time. The people that was on welfare could come to any government agency. You know how hard it is to get into government. And you could work your way off welfare. They have some people still there, been there 30 years.
Let's come back on with that.
Did you?
We have 15, let's go the last one, 15 minutes, then we get into the food segment.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Ready? Because we want to capture that because you talked about a president they think the Democrats not for, somebody that's Republican. So we want to let them know, hey,
okay. And we are back. We're back with Yolanda. We're continuing this conversation. You're going to have to stay with us. We will put up my email address and maybe Michael's telephone number so that it will come into the studio because these conversations are really important. And we're going to also continue them going after the midterms, because right after the midterms, let me assure you that the 2020 elections are going to start. We remember the 18-month cycle that happened in 2015 and 2016. Let us get ready for that. But let's please be educated this time. So finish your story about.
So I was just saying that because they know I love facts and history. I tell Claudia, check your facts. That's one thing my background is legal, and maybe because I had a degree in criminal justice, so I see a lot that happens. So I'm a factual person. If I post it, I've already did it. So what I was saying, that President Bush actually had the welfare to work. You will be surprised how many people didn't take advantage of that.
Did not.
And it is hard getting in the government. You will want to retire. So we can't always say that people are not there to help. We got to get this in their head. They really have to understand these are entitlements, and it's not going to last. I remember one day my grandmother came home. She came home with that block cheese, and she said, "This is temporary. Y'all will not be on food stamps." Right. And I never seen my mother on food stamps. She retired. My aunt retired from the city. She's 52 years old. She said, "It's one time we're going to get this." So we have to honestly be honest, because in the southern sector, low income, the mother was on food stamps, and then she passed it down. It's a generational curse.
So it really is like about the mindset of the people. And when we were talking about history, and history not repeating itself, well, it's important to me because of my community being founded in 1872.
That's Joppa.
That's Joppa. Okay. Goes back to 1872. And when I think about, there was a hanging tree in the community of Joppa, and it was a big debate with us about cutting the hanging tree down. Some people wanted it there as a historical reminder, and like I told them, I said, well, all it's doing is bearing strange fruit. So if I had to get a butter knife every night when everybody goes to bed and cut it down inch by inch, is what I had planned on doing. Well, the city of Dallas kind of complied with me, and they came out one Tuesday, nothing going on. Cut it down, it was over and done with, and we still had yet to put a plaque there because they would bring me in from Ferris, Ennis, Corsicana, Hutchins, and any little city, Palmer, any little city down south, and that's where they would hang our black men, and that's where they would hang them. We actually
so they brought them from other areas into Joppa.
And I
did not know that. Have you ever heard that before?
And my father lives there, so this is great information that he always talks about.
Miss Claudia, you got to know that history. And Miss Davis, we got to come back on another segment, because one thing they're not telling people, and I don't want to relate this to race, but the Hispanics are telling people, when that census comes, put 20 people in a household. Not 20, however many people there you want to get counted. We don't educate the people how important the census are to us. So that's why you can't have, we don't have what we have. So it's so much. And I blame the politicians who have the loudest voice, who can do a lot more than what we can do. We have so much we have to just educate. Because I asked my niece, she went to University of Houston. I said, do they tell y'all about the census down there? Nope. So you have all these colleges where kids are not being counted. And then we struggle to get them help because nobody is counting them.
And then when grant money comes down from DC or up from Austin, and then when the 2010 census, and they show the disparity of 67% African American in the community of Joppa. There's now 34% African American in Joppa. Just using mine as an example, those are not accurate numbers. Then when we ask for things, they say, well, you don't have the accurate number to give what you have been giving, what you were gave 10 years ago. So that's what we have to tell people, educate them. I've done a very hard push to get people, the new people in my community, registered to vote. We have 100-some new neighbors from Habitat for Humanity.
You have people moving to Joppa?
We do. We have Habitat for Humanity has built 129 or around 129 new homes. So we have 129 new families.
I gotta come down there. I have not been down there in a while.
So we tell them, I'm telling them as the election judge, precinct chair, you have to get out to vote. This is how your community gets noticed. When you have Howland Hill that will clock 1,000 or 1,500 or 2,500 on election day, when you have Pleasant Grove that will come through with 25 and 3,000, that gets their attention. They will say, well, okay, we've got voters out there from the elected officials. When I'm clocking 100, maybe 200. Now, the only time I did clock was when Obama ran, and I think I clocked 648 to be accurate on election day for President Obama. The first time that he ran, and something like 400 the second time that he ran. I'll tell you numbers like that. It makes the politicians and make all the grant providers, they take those and say, oh, well, there's a little community down there. They need some help. Let's look about maybe giving them, maybe
but you have to have your voice heard. And that's I think that is our problem.
Your vote is your voice.
Your vote is your voice. Right.
You know, I've been in Pleasant Grove for what, 46 years.
But you're one of the largest
But let me
precincts.
tell you, I have to thank Claudia and Sabrina. I see everybody get these awards. I tell people I work to please God. Now, I've been doing this a long time. I went back, and when I worked at the VA, we was painting houses, 18. They gave me a plaque. I got a plaque from Pinkston. I was going over there volunteer. Juvenile, I got that plaque. But I said all that to say, it wasn't until things started coming in our community. Because the Horse Park, the Byron Nelson.
And the Horse Park is 100 acres that the city owns. I think you can go out there and ride horses now, can't you? You've got to visit the horse parks when you come to town, because one of the things we were advocating for is when there are tourists, all of these conventions that are coming into town that have 80,000 people that come, they need to come south and see the horse park. That is one amazing place. And the horses out there, they can ride the horses. Actually, the police horses are there. So when you come on down to Dallas, give us some of that tax money. When you get here, then tell the operator, tell the concierge, tell them you want to go to Southern Dallas, and we got something for you. The horse park is amazing. And they've
been presidents of their association. I tell you, my wonderful council member, he drags me in all kind of stuff, but I appreciate him. He said, Yolanda.
Who's your
council member Callahan? He said, y'all are one of the oldest established community. And they did a study. We have the highest home ownership in Pleasant Grove. He said, let me tell you how you're going to get what you want from City Hall and the respect.
All right.
You need a neighborhood association. I said, I can't put nothing on my plate. It took me a year to pray over. And I said, you know what? He said, well, how would you feel somebody new come over here and start running, try to run this neighborhood? So I got to thinking. And then we have everything is named after the Trinity Golf Course. So he came up with the name. Pemberton Trinity Forest Neighborhood.
Right.
I said, that's what we're going to do. We have the golf course, and we started marketing our community. And because that golf course is there, they have been good to us. They have been good.
The Byron Nelson is one of the oldest and longest golf course tournaments in the country, and it's in your district, right?
Right around the corner.
Right around the corner.
Have been very inviting. Job is a rock throw, but they have came down and met with us. They came to our community meetings. They have been very inviting to the community. We did get a chance to go to a community day for Byron Nelson. They had
a community day for Byron Nelson. Did y'all ride on the carts? What did y'all do?
Took a tour.
Okay.
I gave us a tour. Met some of the golf pros that were there, got a chance to actually do some stuff. So yeah, it was quite a day. A little hot.
I was really, let me tell you. Now I'm gonna brag because it's good to have good friends. You know, the seniors, you will have to bring them on the show one day. It's called Out of Deepwood. They're the one who sued
Out of Deepwood.
Deepwood. It's Deepwood Neighborhood Association. Miss Shirley Davidson. It's about 8 of them. They the one who sued the city to get that illegal landfill. And the reason why we have the Autobahn and the Byron Nelson, because in that contract, in the agreement, they had to make good to the community. So when people say you work hard for your seniors, because they did all this for us. We had the Horse Park was a legal slaughterhouse.
It sure was.
And so they fought.
But that's all in a flood zone at one time, wasn't it?
Yes.
And then of course, when they stopped the Trinity from running, that's still to be seen if they really stopped that Trinity. That is somebody's cell phone, and I don't know whose it is, but it's.
But yeah, you would love to meet those ladies. They fought. I mean, to be living, I was young, but to be living and being able to assist and fight for them, it's just a blessing to have them still alive, because we wouldn't have the Horse Park, the Byron Nelson, and they did a story. And when I tell you the Salesmanship Club, they invited them to the big fundraiser. They put us in their newspaper. They treated us. We wasn't sitting out there where it was hot. We was in the media booth with the VIPs. Yes, but it was just so good to see the seniors who fought so hard. And that's what we have to get this generation to understand.
That's a good point. We have to get our generation to understand. This whole conversation boils down, in my mind comes to, if you've read the U.S. Constitution, it says we the people. So we the people get things done. There is nothing done in any city in the United States without somebody fighting for it. So if people think they're giving us stuff, you need to go back and turn the pages back and see what has actually been done, because you have to fight for it. And here's a great example right here at this table of people that have stood up and fought for their communities.
So, I do want to interject and say this, that I have not seen people this excited and this, like I said, ecstatic about anything since the Obama days, if they are about Beto O'Rourke running. I mean, you know, I'm watching all the rallies and all the meetups and all this kind of stuff, and people are really, really excited. Yeah. Same thing with Colin Irie. Same thing with a lot of our Democratic, you know, with a lot of our Democratic, you know, candidates that are on the ballot, which I think Dallas has over, I don't know, 50, 60, 70 that are on the ballot that do have challenges from the other party. But I just want to say, I hope that this excitement, and I hope that all this continues on even after November the 6th, and people get excited.
It will heat up because, see, in 2020 we elect the president.
Yes. Yes.
So it's only going to get more exciting. The last time I was privileged to be in Washington, D.C., because we had a show in D.C. for 4 years during the Obama administration. And so things are only going to get hotter here. So I really appreciate. How much more time do I have, Michael?
You have 3 minutes.
I have 3 minutes.
I don't think
so.
so.
Ladies.
I'm sorry, Esther, and you know, I don't think it's. I just think that, and I'm trying to say this in a nice way.
Will you just say it, Yolanda?
I mean, people, you know, and this is what I say about people get excited. I'm excited all the time.
Okay.
It's gonna die down. People gonna go back to that. Yes, they're gonna go back to that normal routine.
Okay.
We're gonna be right back because no one candidate should excite you. You should be excited at all times.
Good.
Because when you go outside of Dallas, you go to Austin, they're always excited. You know, people are always excited. San Antonio, they're excited all the time.
Excited.
Yeah, Atlanta.
Oh, Atlanta's just off the chain.
Yes.
I don't know what. But I think they have more homeowners associations down there.
We have a lot.
But they're not active? What's the problem?
Well, the problem is it's the people who the president. You need to get the people excited. I mean, I don't think you have to do a lot to remind people. Just turn back the clock. If you're not excited about voting, if you think that you don't have, that people didn't fight for us to vote, let's just go back. I know this sounds crazy. I said I wish we can go to the slavery days and take this generation.
Well, actually, with Michael here, Michael. By the way, I keep calling Michael's name. Michael is my producer for 2 of the shows, right?
Yes.
If we have people that we need a Black History Channel.
Right.
Yes.
That would be awesome.
Oh, that would be awesome.
So that we can bring in the elderly people to tell the stories, because there are so many stories that have not been told.
And let me just put up Michael, you get with Miss Esther, you get with me and tell me how much will it cost. I'm not rich.
Now there's a woman after my own head. It does have a cost. Michael is expensive.
I will take what I have to educate, because that's the number one thing that keep us bondage. No one take the time to educate us. And when I say we could take this, just go back to the slavery days. See, this generation don't understand picking the cotton. Right. See, they just have it made. They don't understand people have to fight.
They're entitled. They're entitled.
Yes, they don't understand that you couldn't vote. When I ride the train, I sit at the front. Only time I get up when you're disabled or elderly. I said, because Rosa Parks fought for us to sit at the front. You'll never catch me sitting at the back. And then at work, we used to have parties. Then this lady, she's an attorney from Nigeria. She said, I don't stand in line for food. She said, looks like you begging in my country. She said, if I'm not at the front, and I change the way I think. When I go to a party, she said, you don't stand in line for food. It's like you begging. So I didn't get that. And she said, if you're going to be a leader, you understand that, the importance. You understand that. You're begging. You don't have to stand in line. So it's a lot of things that I'm maturing in, and I'm like, it's not arrogant. It's just where God have you at that time.
And this is a time to get it done. Just last week, and I've got 1 minute, and I'll end this segment of the show. A producer that I know very well wanted to know if why we didn't have a Black channel, and he was telling me the name of the channel, because a lot of new cable companies are coming, and cable companies come up and they have like extra channels, whether they're leased or bought or whatever. So the question was, I won't call his name, but the question was, why can't we have a Black channel? So maybe here's an opportunity to just tell the stories. We have an awful lot of stories. Let me say thanks to...
Let me interject one more thing. Okay, speaking on teaching our millennials and our young people, I said to one time that was kind of confused on some things. I want you to understand a lot of us that have semi-gray hair. A lot of us that have been around the way, a few times that have marched on the front line of the protest line, that have paved the way for you. Just remember, some of us have gave you all our chairs at the table, so you won't have to bring a folding chair in just to be in the room. I'm going to leave that one right there.
To be continued is Esther Davis. Belitos, we thank you for sponsoring this segment of the Esther Davis Show. And I will end and say thank you to the ladies that came to this fabulous panel that we have. We got to have you guys back, and we will do that. We can do that. This is a CFN and BPEN and Roku and the Esther Davis Show. What a combination that is. By the way, you really are the greatest audience in the world. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
I'm gonna bring I'm gonna bring that book back.
You had somebody that commented on Facebook Live. They said, "Praying for God to be honored by our choices, especially for all candidates in Dallas that are pro-life. Hopeful for the Texans to wake up. Remind them that God's word says the first shall be last."
Amen.
Am I the only one that thinks a black child seems racist?
Can we answer that?
Yeah, you can answer that. She's like,
We're still on Facebook.
Okay. Sir, ma'am, I'm just going to address this because you reference God, and if you reference God, then I should be able to give it back to you. God is no perspective of person. Everybody else have a channel. You know, it's only when the African Americans start coming together on a channel, we have to explain everything. I watch on Facebook. We have to give an explanation for everything. And what we're trying to do is educate. We see posting saying, where are the parents, where are the father, where are the dad in the African-American community? So that's not racist. If you look on the TV, you see everything pertaining to everyone else. The Hispanic have a Hispanic channel. You got the Caucasian have a channel. So should your question be reframed? Or are people more afraid that when African-American come together as one and they understand the power that they have, that we really are the one who can do a whole lot? I think that's what you're really asking, that if we get that channel, if we educate everyone, if we help people get off welfare by the grace of God, then maybe you should check and see that you don't have any hidden prejudice or you don't have low self-esteem, because education should be for everyone, not just for the whites, not just for the Caucasian. Education is for everyone.
Any other questions from our Facebook Live?
I'm going to get my channel. I've been the only one.
Well, one thing I want to say before we do, and you, education is king, you know, and of course the word says for the lack of knowledge, And one of the things that I saw on Facebook here recently was the fact that in 1920, this guy wanted to vote. And the Ku Klux Klan burned his house down because he wanted to vote. And so we do take it for granted. And we don't exercise our right to know that we have the power to go and change things and make things different, not only for us, but for the next generation. What are we leaving, you know, for the next generation? So, but that knowledge is what Jewish people do every year at Passover. They repeat their struggles to their children so that they are able to know, don't you forget these 5 smooth stones that carried us over to the promised land. So education is key. I think that's a great thing.
It's like John Lewis on Saturday when John Lewis was talking. He was telling his story of a young boy. He was a son of a sharecropper, and you know, and talked about his family, how he was brought up, and he would hide up under the stairs, and he would hear the school bus coming over the hill, and he would run, and you know, and he'd go to the school bus because it was about education, you know. And it's just that, you know, when you meet someone like him who was educated, who actually walked and talked with Martin, you would think that in 2018 that the question would not have to come about of why don't we have an all African American channel, why don't we have an African American own this or an African American own that. This is 2018. If not now, then when?
Can I say this? The reason why this is all set up, and I'll share this with Esther as well, is somebody said back in 2015, there's no black-owned stations anywhere.
None.
And I met with some people and I tried to get them to rally behind it because they had the finances to do it, because I didn't at the time. And they somehow the conversation fell apart. And sometimes that happens in our community. It just falls apart. There's interest, but nobody does anything. I said, well, Lord, what do I do? And here we are.
Well, Michael was the one that mentioned Spectrum is getting in the game right now. They have bought some of the Time Warner channels. Time Warner moved into Dallas with 500 channels, which is how I had my break. Because with the 500 channels, once they register with FCC, they have to run 24/7. So we had shows running until Time Warner picked up, and then the fees got too high. Spectrum is now doing it. So he was the one that said, why can't we buy a channel? And we put it off because we got busy. But it's going to have to be, I hate to say this, gentlemen, it's going to have to be a women's black-owned channel because the men don't participate or they want to. I'm serious.
No,
I've been in this business a long time. We had, when Bob Johnson sold BET, he had $2 billion, but he had built it up. He had no women executives in that. So we're going to have one. Let's just shock the world and do a women's or ladies' channel. And we don't have to tell them we're African Americans. All we have to do is be on there.
That's right. That's how you do it.
I mean, that's where you do it. That's where you do it.
Well, I think the time that we in now.
And we're ready. Where are we now? Are we still on Facebook?
We're still on Facebook Live.
We can still talk. And Chef Cassandra.
Yeah, I can kill those.
Okay.
And Chef Cassandra can start.
But I want to say this. We said something on your last show, WDVU, remember? We listened to the wrong channel. We don't value us, and we need to change channels.
We had a call in. The guy called in from Houston, and he was a Navy guy in his 80s, obviously, Arthur Fuller. And my question was, well, he's in business. The question was, well, why can't we buy from each other?
Yeah.
And he gave me this very simple answer. We don't value us.
That's it.
Wow.
WDVU?
We were speechless. I mean, I'm seldom speechless at Yolanda. But that's the real thing. And we can make people, we can inspire and encourage people to buy from each other. We can do that. But there's nobody. What makes us move is advertising. If they see an advertisement every 20 minutes, they're going to go out and buy that product.
Yes.
So all we have to do is put up the advertising for that, and that takes money.
It's just like with the Nike. You know, I watched Facebook, and then finally Miss Betty Cobra had to tell him. I said, "I'm gonna let you touch this." He's been had the contract since 2011.
Right.
But there's nothing wrong with Nike. I just don't wear Nike because I don't wear tennis shoes, so I'll get me some New Balance. But we have to educate the people, because when I see people with Nike, I don't knock Nike. I see people with iPhones, and then you're the same people who stand in line who wants to come get that free turkey and take it away from somebody who really need it. And that's what we have to change.
That's right, though.
Or then when someone die, you want to do a GoFundMe because you didn't prepare to set back $20 for a funeral. So those are the real conversations that I said, you know what? I know the call God gave me. I do it honestly, and I do it, and I give from my heart. But we need to have some real talk. You can't keep going to Facebook asking. Insurance policy costs little of nothing. And that's where I think that we are not being honest with the people.
No, you're absolutely right. When you talk about that, we do. I think we value each other to a certain degree. Now we will go to a soul food restaurant every day. Now we're not listening for soul food, black-owned restaurant. No, we will cater to that. But when it comes to selling of clothes or selling of goods, we do not support each other. Yeah. And I go out of town. I often ask when I was traveling with the church, where is the African American part of town, or where's black folk or whatever? Because I want to eat at their place. Right. I want to shop at their and buy shoes from them. I want to buy attire from them. I mean, versus I go to Macy's or I go to wherever. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. But I want to, my money is green, but I want to also make my money invest into a black business, yes, especially a black female-owned business. So, like I said, we value each other when it comes to.
Let me give you a sense of what your audience is, and we're going to shut this down. We're ready to go.
Okay.
How many people do you have? You have 1 million people. You told me you had 1 million people.
With BP and 5.4, with Centertainment, we have with the Roku 21.5. With
Ester Davis, you got 6 million.
There we go.
I'm gonna get my show. Let me tell you.
Let's go to the next stage. Oh, we need to still. you.